A very happy holidays to you, family watching right now. How are you doing? I hope you're all doing well, right? And I also hope that you're as excited, or that excitement still hasn't left your body for when they announce the second season of the 100 Girlfriends Who Really Love You anime. Now, fam, with today's video, I wanted to share with you an interview that was conducted, I believe, quite some time ago already, within the month of December. This is an interview between Rikuto Nakamura, who is the author of this amazing series, the 100 Girlfriends Who Really Love You, Nakamura sensei, and Akasaka sensei, who is the author of Kaguya-sama, the manga and popular anime, as well as Oshinoko, the popular manga and anime as well. Now, I also wanted to essentially what I want to do is to just comment and share one of the some of the insightful, amazing points that I found from this interview, and yeah, essentially that. But just want to make things clear as well that the website that I got this interview from, which I also put a link down below for you to check it out, the website is in Japanese, so when I translate it to using Google Translate, right, some of the answers may come off as a bit, shaky, right? But I'll try my best to interpret the gist of the entirety of the content, right, as much as I can. And with that being said, let's jump right into it, shall we? Now, first point that I wanted to share from the interview is the entire sequence of Rentaro introducing a new girlfriend into the rest of the family, right? And that's that whole bit, right, that whole gag scenario where he starts sweating buckets as he introduces a new girlfriend to the rest of the family. It became sort of the standard now, because Nakamura sensei initially didn't knew how to approach doing it right. Another question that was asked was the 100 part of the story, right? The 100 girlfriends who really love you. What's the 100 concept part of the entire story when coming up with it? To which Nakamura sensei responds that 100, right, is something that is definitely it's a number that is impactful, right? It's easy to remember, 100%, right? Pun intended. And it's also somewhat achievable, right, in one way or another. Because let's say having 10 heroines, it's kind of quote unquote weak, as Nakamura sensei also puts it, and 1000 is just, it's really insane, right? And what's more, if he were to use, let's say, 50 characters, right, or 100, right, in this case, right, 50, 100 characters, there's really not much of a difference, because there's still a lot of people, a lot of characters involved within the story, right? Between 50 and 100, going for the 100 seems more memorable and seems just about right, I mean, between 50 girlfriends who really love you, or 100 girlfriends who really love you, well, I guess 100 seems just as impactful, memorable, and it does hit all of those marks to make it really stand out, and it's something that Nakamura sensei is hoping to really achieve. Now, to add on to this, a number of constraints as well, right, to include multiple characters in each of the chapter, right? That's also something that Nakamura sensei addresses, to which he responds that the pages where you can fit these characters would also be limited, and he already sort of stumbled across that difficulty when he reached the double-digit line, right, at about 10, 15, my gosh, 20 characters, right? Those sorts of numbers where already there's a lot of characters involved, right? He even considered to sometimes not put everyone in one frame, right? Otherwise it would be kind of difficult. And that's, I guess, another one of the challenges as well that Nakamura sensei and Nozowa sensei, the illustrator of this series, kind of wants to figure out on how to resolve, right? Now, for reference, here is the entire family, right? Compiled family for when Matsuri, the latest addition to the Rentaro family, the latest character, the 27th girlfriend, was introduced into the family. And in this frame, there are 26 characters. This is what it looks like. And thankfully enough, Nozowa sensei, again, who is the incredible illustrator of this incredible manga series, has such skill and talent to be able to, to have the details of these characters really be defined and distinguishable despite being really small, despite the lack of space, you know? Another thing that Nakamura sensei shared was that he doesn't really read romantic comedy series all that much, but he really loves, you know, gag or comedy manga. And he even thinks of 100 Kanojo, 100 Girlfriends, right, as more of a quote-unquote love gag, right, than a rom-com. And Akasaka sensei also adds in that, and I quote, "In our works, the desire to make people laugh comes first," to which Nakamura sensei agrees, right? And certainly there's this aspect has also been shown within 100 Kanojo, right? Aside rather from the amazing drama and lovable, really romantic moments, there is a lot of comedic gags that really are as impactful within this manga as well. And in fact, I would even argue that the gags, right, of this manga that blend also very well with the romantic aspect of it is what also puts this manga, you know, on the radar out there, right? Because of how hilarious the gags are, right? And indeed, so it delivers it really, really well. In the anime's production process, how was Nakamura sensei involved? To which Nakamura sensei responds that he would also receive these scenarios or storyboards, right, of the anime's episode and how it would be conducted, right? He would also sort of point out details that were different from what he had in mind initially, right? Such as the sweating detail of the characters during intense or I guess comedic scenes as well. You know, with Hikaru Sato sensei, the director of the anime, right? The timing and I guess overall, well, directing, right, of how the episodes would go, right, of these gag moments, the comedic moments were really done so beautifully. It's something that Nakamura sensei also is really thankful for. And if I might also add in as well, aside from just the directing and the art, the voice acting as well is done beautifully, right? During the 100-day countdown to the anime, after its announcement was announced, right, in this special program, there were posts on the official Hyakano Anime Twitter or X account about the comments of Nakamura sensei and Nozowa sensei on the voice acting to the characters, right? And all I can really say is that, you know, Nakamura sensei and Nozowa sensei really love it, right? While Nakamura sensei finds the entire aspect new of that of, you know, like of listening into the dubbing of the series during the production phase, right, he was also really happy to see that everything was really delivered so well, right, and that it came out as something that is really cute, you know. And indeed it was also an eye-opener for him to know about the sort of importance, right, so to speak, of voice acting and how these lines needed to be delivered in this particular way, right, and different mannerisms and different forms and how it can be delivered, right. To move on, let's talk a bit more about the anime episodes itself, right, or the entire season I guess. Now, in planning the course of this season, right, Nakamura sensei's editor suggested that to liven up and to liven and create such an impactful moment on this series with the adaptation of the third volume, right? So, for context, the entire course of the first season of this anime covers 3 volumes, right? Of which Hahari is the 6th edition, the last heroine of the first volume. Of the first season of this of the anime adaptation, right? And one of the purposes as well as to why this was the case was because of the climactic moment that can be found within this particular volume. And fun fact as well, this is one of the things that I really find interesting from Nakamura sensei, right? Of which he stated that one of his initial ideas was to have an older sister character for Hakari, right? So Hakari would have, theoretically, right, Hakari has a older sister, of which she would eventually be one of Rentero's girlfriends, right? Now, it would still sort of follow this narrative of the mother or parent, I guess, would be the antagonist. So there is the mother character who is the antagonist, who I guess let's say opposes the relationship that Hakari and that Hakari would have with Rentaro, right? And you have the older sister who is the companion of Hakari, who would stay, who someone who would stay by her side, someone who's related to her, and she would eventually also fall in love and be part of the heroine in the family with Rentaro, right? But this, however, this idea was, scratched. It wasn't, it wasn't followed through, because introducing these two characters at the same time within this arc, both the sister and the mother, would have mean to have pages dedicated, or time frames, right? Or time, yeah, essentially time dedicated to them, and lesser time for other characters to shine, right? Which then led Nakamura Sensei to combine both of the aspects of, again, this companion character to Hakari, or someone closely related to her, and yet also serves as a sort of antagonist for the story, which then leads up to Hakari, right? And she fulfills both of those roles so beautifully. This is a sort of approach of which, indeed, it's really unexpected, but somehow Nakamura Sensei really made it work, right? Nakamura Sensei also adds that the quote-unquote mother heroine should have been introduced far later into the story initially, but having Hakari's mother, Hahari, play that that role early on was the route essentially that Nakamura Sensei went for, right? And he was glad that many readers, though shocked, even Akasaka Sensei was also shocked to find out about this revelation. Though shocked, they were still very accepting of Hahari's character, and indeed so. Another question that was asked is that each heroine played a part in this arc, and they were asking whether or not it was intentional to have it as part of this climactic moment. And Nakamura Sensei responds, and again with such another beautiful answer, that that he included all of the characters not because it's a climactic moment, right, or it's an important moment. Sure, that is important, but it is not 100 girlfriends, it's not 100 Kanojo manga unless all of everyone, all of the characters, all of the heroines are involved. That this to show really that this is a story of which each and every character is heavily intertwined with one another and has great involvement with one another, right? In this part, Akasaka Sensei also asks for how long can they keep up with this, this 100 girlfriends bit, with more and more heroines joining in to the story. And, he also further comments on how it would be such a huge task for the anime industry to really be able to produce this work with, a lot of voice acting involved. And funnily enough, as well, fun fact, this was also kind of mentioned during the very chapter of which a part of the storyline, right? Story of the manga also kind of addresses that part where this entity showed up, and to not give off much of a spoiler, but the manga, the story even addresses the challenges that having an anime of this manga, right, of this series would also be incredibly difficult, and dare I say quote-unquote impossible, right? But somehow it all worked out. That chapter was incredibly good. Again, the gags and fourth wall break moments from this series is really top notch, and I really love it. And Nakamura Sensei, in response to that question, right, of how long can they keep us up, Nakamura Sensei responds simply with a quote-unquote good question, then gives a good chuckle. Another question that was asked is does Nakamura Sensei have a particular character in mind that stands out? To which he responds, just like Akasaka Sensei, he cannot limit himself to just one person, because it would be like betraying the readers, and very much so. There's indeed a passion that is involved in, I guess, creating stories, right? That each and every character that he puts out is really crafted with care, love, and passion in mind, right? To ensure that they really do stand out, that they are beloved by the readers and by the creator as well. That's the thing about Hyakuno Indeed family, that all of the characters found within the series are so unique, so lovable, that indeed you can tell that there's really a lot of thought that went into this, right? And on how this character is created, so to speak, right? Other thing as well, towards Rentaro, Nakamura sensei comments, and I quote, "That's something that just kept expanding as I drew it. Since he was loved by so many girls, I tried to make him work harder and harder to give back the love he deserved, and it became what it is now. But I think I have to keep trying even harder." And yeah, Rentaro, right, within the series, insane character with, feats of nature defying moments is what also, makes him such an interesting character, and one that is also really, fleshed out. And it's something that from this statement alone makes me think that it's going to even continue to become more and more insane, right? And another thing that Nakamura sensei also adds on to Rentaro is that he made sure to not make him an unlikable character, right? An unlikable protagonist, so to speak, because in making Rentaro, Nakamura sensei made sure to create or to have Rentaro be an honest person, right? He is someone who works hard, and that he's not naturally gifted or anything, right, like that, or he's privileged, right? But rather he compensates for it with his tireless efforts to make sure that his girlfriends are all happy, with also that never give up attitude that he has with him, right? This really makes Rentaro an inspiring figure, right? Someone that a lot of people really aspire to be and should follow, right? Because Rentaro really indeed is someone that we as an audience can also root for because of his hard work, of his efforts, and that his achievements really do feel earned. Everything that led up to his happiness and even still continues on to that is brought upon by his hard work and the journey and experiences that he had before him, right? Now, to end all this, Nakamura sensei was asked on what the future of 100 Kanojo, of 100 Girlfriends would look like, and I quote, or paraphrase rather, from this translation: "I will do my best to make all the girls happy and not disappoint the readers. We will include more laughter and excitement than ever before." My gosh, as such a huge fan of this series, it just makes me so incredibly happy to know that the author indeed is so passionate and has so much love for the series that he created, right? And it makes me also happy to know that indeed he will really push through with in ensuring that all 100 girlfriends, 100 heroines, 100 characters will all be happy, and that essence, right, of family and everything about what makes 100 Kanojo, 100 girlfriends, 100 girlfriends, right, will still continue to be that way. And yeah, again, if you want to read more into the interview, I'll put a link down below for you to check it out. And yeah, thank you for listening, family, and that being said, take care.